Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie. I have a 4-day weekend and I want to read as much as I possibly can. Now, it is noon on Friday, day 1, and I spent the morning eating food, online shopping, and watching people watch my favorite stuff, like movies and TV show. That's like my favorite thing besides BookTube to watch. But now I'm ready. I'm ready to read. I'm so excited. I'm just gonna mood read, but I am gonna keep in mind my Winterween TBR. Fun fact, I had a plan to do a 24-hour reading vlog today where I would like complete Winterween all in one day. Last night I was up late editing. I was like, yeah, that's not happening. That's not happening. And I'm trying to quit caffeine. So I'm just gonna participate casually and have fun with it as one does. I have a TBR that I talked about in my reset. Those books are Thirst by Marina Yuksuk. I will be reading this in this vlog. I'm like in my vampire shit right now, if you couldn't tell from my last video. So I think we might start this today. I also have We Have Always Lived in a Castle by Baby and Pet Cemetery. But also I'm craving some drama. And I do have the NetGalley for the favorites. I really want to read it. I hear it's like a little bloody, and because it's figure skating, all I'm thinking about is someone getting their neck sliced by an ice skate. But also there's like tragic, toxic love in here. I need it. So I think we might have to read it in this vlog. And then on Sunday, I'm going book shopping with a bunch of my friends. And while I was doing my TBR game, I noticed, because one of the prompts is to read like impulsively bought books, I'm running really low. I really am. And so I might try to do like a mini book haul and a book challenge of impulse shopping my books. Which, yes, doesn't seem like the smartest decision, but often, especially when I go by cover, my choices are like good. So we'll talk more about that on Sunday. I'm so excited. I also just got paid, so like perfect timing. Other than that, I'm just gonna mood read. I do have like a pile of thriller and horrors since we're in that Winterween era. They're all the books are fucking calling to me. And I have a pile of library books. So like the options are limitless, and yes, that is very overwhelming. So I'm gonna start with one I definitely know I wanna read. Thirst. Here we go. I think this is about lesbian vampire shit. Let me just read you this blurb, okay? Across 2 different time periods, 2 women, 1 vampire, 1 mortal, confront a yearning that will not let them rest. I'm also really excited to read this because it's translated by Heather Cleary, who's the same person who translated this book. And I don't know like if you could track books you like by the same translator, but I'm sure there's gonna be a vibe, you know? I don't know. We'll see. I also went to the gas station this morning and I got a shit ton of candy and junk. I got my fave powdered sugar donuts. Frank got the crunchy one. I'm gonna try a couple of these. My share size M&Ms that I will not be sharing. And a nerd rope. I need to calm down.
When all the haze gets washed away, smooth flights to Cabinet's Marvel escape. From the back to the front, from the ground, going up and I feel something. Like the sky, hold the light, let it shine till my heart starts to say something. Stay, blackberry days, blooms on the horizon. Wait under the rays, watch the world brighten. All these things are given to us. All these shine like gold in the dust. Stay, blackberry days, blooms on the horizon. Eyes up, while all my dreams fly back to space. Feet down.
All right, I'm halfway through my little vampire book, and I have to say, it's literally everything I've ever wanted. First of all, the prologue follows a woman who has a child named Santiago, which reminds me of Monstrilio, and that's not the last time I'm gonna mention this book. They're in a cemetery, and she's there. She's acting a little weird. She's like staring at bones. I'm like, are you a vampire? Are you not? She seems to be scared of something, but she also is like drawn toward it. Then her son runs off, and he gets really scared. He comes back, and she seems to think that like something would have happened to him. I'm like wondering if she thinks someone's gonna take him, like someone she knows, aka a vampire. So as soon as she finds him, she's like, yo, we gotta go. But as everyone is leaving the cemetery because it's time to go, she looks over her shoulder and there's a woman with long hair and like a scary face, or like a mad face. Let me see exactly how it was described. Among all those strange faces, just the people in the cemetery, one stands out from the rest because it's looking right at me. The face doesn't appear. I realize it was already there, motionless in the middle of the throng, jostling its way toward the exit. There is something something defiant about how she doesn't look away when I fix my eyes on her. Her dark hair is a long tangled mess. She looks like a bag lady, but that's not what unsettles me. There's something about her that doesn't belong here. She's trying to get out of here. She looks back and she says she's met by those wild eyes burning with purpose. So I guess it wasn't like an angry face. It could just be love, but then she turns and walks away. So something, I want to know what's happening. And halfway through, we don't even know who that bitch is. Chapter 1, we start following a vampire lady back way before, like, I don't even know. She talks about going on a ship and going to Buenos Aires, which is where I think everything is taking place in this book. But we also get flashbacks to her very horrible childhood, which, like, trigger warning city. We find out how she was turned, who she was turned by. Fuck that bitch. And then she takes us along with her as she's met a few people, and just the way that she is. She's the kind of vampire that I've been wanting to read for a long time, who just thinks of themselves as an animal, and like they will kill and they will feed because it's in their nature, and they don't feel bad about it because that's just who they are. And so it does kind of give me Monstrillo vibes in that way. But yeah, she does not give a shit. And it's so funny because there are a couple characters in here that you think, oh, maybe because they're so sweet and she likes them and she's clearly attracted to them, maybe she'll give them a break. She breaks, you know, them. I like how this is set up also because I'm sorry, I feel like I'm still in my vampire vlog right now, but it feels like she might be one of the brides of Dracula, or at least like what we saw, those like 3 women. It's kind of giving a nod to that. But yeah, this is a bad bitch. We're in the midst of a baddie. And at this point, halfway through, it seems like there is going to be a real turn in things that happen, or maybe we're going to stop going into the past and we're going to start with her present moment. We're going to find out who this girl with Santiago is. Oh, I'm just loving it. And the writing is so good. And you know what's crazy is that Pink Slime was one of my favorite books of 2024, and my absolute favorite thing about it was the atmosphere, and this has a palpable atmosphere. And I wonder if that is a little bit of the work of the translator. I don't know if that's like how that works. I don't want to insult the author by like saying that that's why the writing is beautiful in both of these works. So I will say that I will be keeping an eye out for anything that this translator decides to translate, because clearly she has good taste. She's picking books she's like, oh, that's nice stuff. I trust her with my life now. And I also like that this is kind of steamy and bloody and gory. It's just like all of the things, but it's also beautiful. I've underlined so much shit, as you've seen a few of them, and I really don't see how this won't be 5 stars. Like, I honestly can't, unless it's just like really rushed at the end. I don't know, because there's not really a plot right now, and I love it. This girl, we don't even know her real name. I'm going to laugh my ass off if it's Carmilla. Interestingly enough, this character didn't have a name. We never found out what her name was. Interesting. But this character, she's messy and she's dramatic, and I love it. So yeah, that's the update. I am so happy that I'm reading this right now. I think we're going to have our first 5-star of 2025. Get ready. Hi, it's Saturday. It's been a rough one, which is just so unfair. Like, why? On a weekend. It's been pretty up and down. Started off with Winterween sprints. Thank you, Gabby, for that. But I was just in like the lowest spirits all day, and it's just so sad that my hormones are punishing me for not having a child. Honestly, that's what it feels like. Once a month, I get in these moods where I'm just leaking. I'm not crying. I'm not like scrunching up my face. I don't feel sad, but like tears are pouring out of my face. And it's the most frustrating thing ever. But I did go out and get myself more treats. And you know what? I know I'm supposed to be quitting caffeine. This is medicine. This is medicine, and it truly made me feel so much better. Doctor's order. So I'm slowly getting out of my funk today, which is good, and I've just finished Thirst, but I have some bad news. The first half of this is impeccable. I loved every second of it, and I will be rereading it over and over and over and over and over again. It was everything I wanted in a vampire story. We had atmosphere, we had the coolest setting, the historic part of it. I'm just like in love with that right now. And then the unapologetic murdering of human beings. I love it. In a book, just to be clear. The second half is from a whole nother point of view, the point of view from the preface, like I was talking about earlier, the modern woman. And so obviously I was expecting a little bit of difference in tone because we have two different characters and two very different settings. Well, it's literally the same place, but like very different times. And I think the third quarter was pretty good at setting this up. It was really heavy and sad and quite a bummer to read while I'm in like a bummer mood because our main character is dealing with this sort of grief with her terminally ill mother who is like, she's going through it and she's been dying for years, it sounds like, and that sounds so rough, especially when like she actually likes her mom. So yeah, it was really intense in that way, and I liked like the sort of messaging or themes reflecting in these two characters in very different way, like mortality, I guess morality as well, but the shortness of life, but also like the longness of immortal life. It was very kind of cool to see those themes throughout these two women. But besides that, I feel like I didn't really get to know this character very well. That is the cutest dog I've ever seen. The last quarter of this book is gonna make me give this like a 3.5. I'm not kidding. Like, how sad is that? I don't know what to do with this. And I'm sorry, this is the most misleading blurb. What does it say? Across 2 different time periods, 2 women, 1 vampire, 1 mortal, confront a yearning that will not let them rest. Excuse me? I understand that in the first half. She's like thirsting. She's literally so fucking thirsty. But the second half, like what? That doesn't even make any sense. So, like the actions of our modern woman, what? They literally, like the logic is not there. It doesn't make any sense. And when I think about it, there's like one little piece of logic with our vampire that doesn't make any sense in the end either. It like things just jump and the people just do stuff and they're not thinking about it or talking about it. So I'm like so disappointed, but also I'm so glad I got to read that first half because it was just so good. But damn, I saw a 5-star just snatched out from under me, like right in front of me. So sad, devastating. You know what's interesting though is that I think I gave this 4 stars when I first read it in Summerween, and then it ended up at the top 10 of my favorite books of the year. Actually, it was number 11. So maybe this will also grow in my head. We'll see. Time will tell. But now it's 2 days into this 4-day vlog and I finished 1 book and it wasn't even very long. I always go into like a weekend reading vlog thinking I'm gonna read like 20,000 books, and now it might just be 2. Whatever. Tomorrow we're going impulse book shopping. I know that's gonna lift my spirits up. But now that it looks like I might only be able to finish 1 more book, I'm gonna cross my fingers for 2. I'm thinking I should start the favorites because I definitely want to fit it in here. I am so excited to read that book. This is apparently inspired by Wuthering Heights. I don't know if it's like a complete retelling, but I've never read that book, but I remember hearing different characters in books talking about that and how it's like this tragic people cheating on people or like betrayal. I don't know. And like the figure skating part of it, I don't know why that's so exciting. Also, I was planning on going ice skating and reading this book and a couple others that I had like ice skating books for. But every time I try to plan it, things like kind of fall through with scheduling it. So I don't know, that's gonna happen eventually, but I just need to read this book. Let's read the first sentence together. Let me open my little Kindle app. Kindle. Oh, also, guess what? I think I talked about Monstrilio. Is it this video? I don't know, I'm getting confused with all the vampire shit. But this picture is like inspired by that famous picture with the woman fainting and the monster on top of her. It's called The Nightmare, and they talk about it in this book. So there's a lot of like, I don't know, interesting. But also Hungerstone, which is a book I really want to read too. Should I try to read that? Am I going a little too far with the vampire shit? I'm like still so addicted to them right now. But this picture is like that famous painting, but without the monster on top of her. So yeah, the vampire shit is real. That's all I'm saying. OMG, there she is. Oh my god, I think she dedicated this to Tanya Harding. 85 chapters. Sorry, I read that first sentence before I could read it with you, but like, ooh, the drama is happening. The first sentence, today is the 10th anniversary of the worst day of my life. Tell me all about it, girl. Oh god, she's talking directly to me. That's one of my pet peeves. Ooh, it looks like in between the chapters, there's going to be like mixed media. I say that because it's kind of hard to tell on this arc, but the gist of the story is that there's 2 figure skaters who I think grew up together and like trained together, competed together, I think fell in love with each other, go to the Olympics and something crazy happens, and then 10 years go by and people are still obsessed with them because like some drama went down, and so they're making a documentary on it. And so I think that's what this is in between the chapters, is like the documentary. But then our main character is like, excuse me, no one else is gonna tell my story but me, so maybe that's why she's talking directly to us. All right, I'm gonna fall into the drama. Let it cure me, please. Oh, someone's looking at me. Guys, I'm only 10% into this and I'm addicted. Like, this is giving crack. It feels like Taylor Jenkins Reid mixed with Colleen Hoover, sorry to trigger some of you, mixed with Big Little Lies, mixed with like Ice Princess. I am simply just ready to devour this. And it's definitely a retelling of Wuthering Heights because I think those characters are called Heathcliff and Kathy, and she's Katarina and he's Heath. Like, come on. Right now they're 16 and they're going to their first like real competition. She has like a iconic skater who she's always looked up to, and her children who are twins are competing in the same competition, and they're like cutthroat, maybe literally. But also I wonder because I don't know if I've made up what I've heard of Wuthering Heights, but I think there's like multiple relationships going on. So I'm wondering if like maybe she ends up hooking up with the twin. Anyway, they run into each other and Katarina, our main character, is really injured. And now we're about to see her as she tries to compete with like a pretty bad injury. It's been a couple days and it's just like blossoming a bruise and her joint hurts. And like, I'm already scared her career's over, but I know it can't be. This is her first competition and they go to the Olympics eventually. I'm already out of breath. I'm so excited about this book. So we're dealing with that right now. We're also getting insight to her family life. Her mom died when she was younger. Her dad died, I think pretty recently, like within the past year, and she lives with her brother who's a mean drunk. She and Heath are like in love with each other, and since they were like 11, they've lived together. Her father is like his legal guardian. So, oh my God, it's like messy but juicy stuff. And I feel bad because her dad sounded so sweet and he was like so nice to Heath when he was a kid. We're learning this all, by the way, in the chapters from Katarina's point of view, but it's telling it as if it was like her telling us stuff that happened in the past. So it's not like we're gonna be getting like a timeline split or anything like that. She's just telling us from wherever she is in the present day about her past, and I do love that in a story. And then, like I said, in between her chapters is like this documentary, and the documentary, oh my God, it's juicy stuff. We're learning different characters through this, and some of them are snarky, some of them are like, I'm wondering how they're related to these characters. And it is kind of giving Big Little Lies. You know how they're talking to like the parents that go to that school in between the actual story. It's fun and high energy, and I'm just blowing through this. Let me read you this one quote from like the documentary part. I think we've met this person and they are like competing with them, but in the present moment they're probably like 30, somewhere around there. Imagine being down so bad you'd master a whole Olympic sport to spend time with someone. That's the kind of down bad I want someone to be for any of my characters, please. It's giving he's obsessed with her and she loves him, but she's obsessed with skating. Like, that is her shit. That's her true love. And I just can't wait for this to get messier and messier and more dramatic. I love drama. It does make me want to read Wuthering Heights though. But let's talk about my shopping tomorrow. Like I said, I need books that were impulse purchases for my TBR game, and obviously I can't read them until I get them on the TBR game because I need some books in that column. So here's what I consider an impulse purchase. First of all, just walking around and I'm drawn by some magnetic force to something. I could just look at some books and see what covers jump out at me and like impulsively decide to get that. It could also be books that I've obviously heard about. It can be books that I have thought I might want to read one day, but it kind of has to be a feeling where like, oh, I completely forgot I wanted to read that and now I'm seeing it now and I'm impulsively choosing it. What does not count is anything that I've recently seen reviews for, anything that I've recently been recommended or saved to my TBR. We're looking for out of the blue. So I'm gonna try to grab 4 tomorrow, and I might buy some more books that like aren't impulsive. I just got paid. What do you want from me?
Burgundy's on the oaks, greasy air every Sunday morning, maplewood in the smoke, like a spirit we feel it, it's taking us under. Any fire will stoke, find the answers that had their meaning. Windy was like the roads, if we dream it, believe it, we'll fall into wonder. Walk with me, talk with me for a little bit, let's get into it. Walk with me, high times, low key.
Grant is gonna pick me a book. He said this. He brought this up. I didn't make him do this.
I love this. This looks cool.
I've heard great things.
Lay back afternoon chills, Eastside dads getting lost in stories, sunbathe watches and stills. It's for freedom, a kingdom so weightless and tandem. Chase the
Hello, it is Monday. I have the day off and I cannot tell you how good that feels. Also, I hear a lawnmower, so I'm gonna try to hurry up, but I have a haul for you. I was gonna do this last night after we got home. We spent like the entire day at the mall, which I haven't done since like high school. It was very nostalgic. And it was a group of 9 of us, so by the time I got home, I was just like, oh my god, I need to read my little book and fall asleep. And yes, as you can see from my orange tongue, I am rocking the monster at, what time is it? It's like 9:30. I think I'm just going to admit that I need caffeine. And I've completely forgotten why I wanted to quit it in the first place. I don't know. Okay, first up, non-book stuff. So if you would like to skip to the book stuff, I'll probably put chapters down below. I did impulse bookshop. I also just impulse shopped, which is something I haven't done in a while, so I'm not really gonna beat myself up over it. You can judge me if you'd like. I'm judging myself, honestly. First up, we went to this Asian snack like warehouse. I'd never heard of it, but one of our friends was like, yeah, let's go here. It's called 1 2 Buy. The best thing we tried, I kept this packaging, was this Lay's. Oh my gosh, first of all, this packaging is so pretty. This tasted like a whole meal. It's like spicy, savory, but salty. It just tasted so good, and I so wish we had this. Oh, it says limited edition even in this country. Oh my god. Oh, it's Thailand, I think. I also got double mint gum in another language. Gold foiling. Ooh. This is from China. I think it's like octopus chips. I think Grant bought this one. And he also bought these chocolate soft beans, also from China. And then we each got these mini rice crackers from Thailand. I got the double cheese and he got the egg chips. Why does that sound kind of good? I don't know. These are like shrimp chips from Japan. Oh my god, steak chips from Japan. Steak. And I also got these Thailand chips where it's like a chicken barbecue kind of thing. I don't know. Lots of meat flavored chips here. Oh, and then my friend also got like milk tea Kit Kat bars. Definitely gonna try that. I got a few things from Bath & Body Works. Again, fast forward if you don't care. I got this candle. Blush, amber, and peony. It kind of smells like a mysterious woman at night. That's what it smells like to me. Then I got my favorite soap, mahogany teak wood. This smells like a sexy man. And then I'm gonna try out this one called Beautiful Day. It smells very beachy. What's that one scent, like cucumber, whatever? It smells like really sweet and clean, but also salty. I kind of like it. I went to Sephora for one thing and I ended up buying a couple things. First, I got the NARS concealer. I get 3 of these. And then depending on like how much sun I've gotten, I mix them on my hand and I make like my own little special color. And I was out of my favorite shade, which is Affogato, which is basically ghostly white. I got a trial size that costs like 20 bucks of this Wow spray. It's for like helping with your curls, which I've been trying to go with my natural hair lately. This was just with shampoo and conditioner, so I'm like so excited to see what an actual curl product would look like in my hair. And then as I was checking out, I am a sucker for their like checkout line. They have like fully priced products in there, but I did find little mini versions of my favorite perfume brand, which is Juliet Has a Gun. They had a mini of my favorite perfume, which is not a perfume. Let me show you. I have the big bottle. I love this shit so much. It smells almost like nothing. It's very subtle and it just smells like fresh. I have no other way to describe it. And I think it's called not a perfume because the only like flavor it has is the thing that takes away scents in other perfumes. Something like that. And I do notice that it smells a little bit different on my skin because it changes with your like pH, which I think all perfume does, but whatever. Oh, this shit smells so good. And then I wanted to try out this one just called Juliet. And like the name of the brand is Juliet Has a Gun. So I want to know what this bitch smells like. Let's try her. She kind of smells like wood pencils. Oh, this smells a little bit like old lady, but like rich old lady. I can do that. I know this is really consumerist of me, but I always save perfume bottles. I just like having them on my little vanity. I feel like such a girl. And I love just seeing all these glass bottles. I love it. And next up, the most expensive and most like useless product, and one that you might not like. My husband rolled his eyes so far back in his head when he saw this, and all of my guy friends literally laughed at me, but my girlfriends were like, we get it, babe. It was an impulse decision, and look how cute she is. I love her, and I'm literally gonna hold her like this, like I'm a child. I love her, and she reflects the light. I could check my teeth when I'm out at dinner. She's even smaller than the pretty small bag I already have. But like I only have one bag. I can add another, right? Right? I know this might not be your taste, but she is my taste. And I just love boring like t-shirts and then like this bitch. So people are like, oh, interesting. Which could be good or bad, but like it's good for me. Look how cute she is. I love her. I kind of want to name her Jody, Josie, Paula. I don't know. Let me know if you have name suggestions for this baby. All right, moving on to my Barnes & Noble haul. I did buy a couple non-book stuff. First of all, a glitter silver pen. There's a page in my reading journal that I set up that I have like stars, and I really want to do like glitter stuff on it. And then I got this notepad, which I already have. I got it last time I was there. It's so cute. I use it for work, but I also would like to use it just like when I'm doing booktube. I just like having this on my desk, like a little bug-filled notepad. So fucking you. First up, Grant bought 3 books for himself, but 2 of them I really want to read. Maybe the third if he tells me it's really good. First up, he got Wool by Hugh Howey. This is the first in some legendary series according to the book. And I think this is like a dystopian world or a post-apocalyptic world where they're all underground and like a few of them are allowed up. And we follow this main character named Juliet, who's a mechanic, but then she is like the new law officer. So there's gonna be like a changing of government, political, blah, 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 blah. It's kind of giving like the City of Ember, which honestly, this book, like I haven't read it since I was in elementary school. This book slapped. So an adult version of that, when I put it in that context, I'm like, oh wait, that might be interesting. And I really wish the outside was the inside. Look at this. It's like a blueprint. Oh, that's so cool. I'm gonna ask Grant if I could flip it, but he's very territorial about his books. Probably because I have so many and he has so few. He's like, no, that goes on my bookshelf. These 2 though, I'm gonna try to worm over here. I really am. Because first up, he got The Tangled Root Palace. And this is the author of and the illustrator of the Monstrous series, which I have not read, but I have read this graphic novel. And it was really good. It was drawn really interestingly. I think it was set in Hawaii, was it not? And there's some interesting family dynamics and like good horror. But this is like an actual book. I think it's a book of short stories and there's a novella at the end. Some of the stories include a body-stealing sorceress, a bone-collecting apprentice witch, a princess turned actress, and a warrior protecting China from her jealous ex. That one really gets me. I wish there were some illustrations in here too because I really like this artist's style, but OMG, there's a signature. That's so cool. And then I know a lot of you have read this, God Killer by Hannah Kaner. When I saw this in the cart, I was like, oh my god. Enter a land of gods and monsters, soldiers and mercenaries, secrets and wishes. There were gods in this place, but now they're like forbidden, which is crazy. Like imagine gods being like forced out of a place. How does one even do that? There are god killers, hence the name, that help enforce this, but like how? I don't understand. Obviously I need to read the book. We follow Kissin, who is a god killer, but she wants to save this little girl, but her life is tied to a god. So like if she kills him, she kills the little girl. And so there's like a morality issue she's having there. And I know like this probably isn't the kind of book, but I want her to fall in love with a god that she's trying to kill. Like that would just really do it for me. Moving on to the books I bought, honestly, I got 6 impulse purchases here. And then one of them, as you saw, Grant picked out for me. How cool is this? When I tell you, I almost fell on the floor when he's like, should I pick a book out for you? This follows 2 girls in 1950s Iran, and I think it's the coming of age of both of them. They're besties, but then one of them ends up like being rich or like going back into like a upper class, and so they kind of lose touch, but then they come back together. There's political turmoil in Iran during this time, and then it says, one earth-shattering betrayal will have enormous consequences. I feel like historical fiction always makes me cry, and when it's a pair of besties, especially when we get to see them from a young age onward, I have no chance. I stand no chance. Next, I picked up North Woods. I can take this sticker off and I can't take this one off. At least it's like sort of green, so it kind of looks like it looks well. Also, look at these besties meeting. Oh my god. I got this from the library in my last reset and I read like 6 pages. I said, I gotta buy it. This is a 5-star prediction. It is also historical, but it's very interesting because I think the point of view is a cabin in the woods. And over centuries, they're talking about the people that inhabit it. And that is just the coolest fucking shit. The writing was really lyrical and very like almost pretentious, but like that's exactly what I want. This is a book that I don't think I'm going to be able to binge in like a day. I'm going to have to take my time, or at least take an entire day and do nothing but read this book, focus it, have like my pen to underline things, and really just like be swallowed by this book. And it also has little pictures in it, I've noticed. Like, look at that. Wow. Next up, I got a Stephen King book. I had no idea this was about vampires until a couple of you actually commented in my vampire video that I can't shut up about. Like, hello? LOL, look at that. I want to watch this movie as well because some of you recommended it, but I definitely want to read the book first. So I've never read a Stephen King. I need to read Pet Sematary, like I said, and then Salem's Lot is next. Let me know what you rated this, what you thought about it. I need your opinions. A couple days ago, I watched Mally's favorite books of the year, and I was so fucking influenced. I wrote every single one of them down that I didn't own. I was looking for a few of them. They didn't have them at Barnes & Noble, so I'm gonna have to order them. But the one I did find was I Who Have Never Known Men, and I've heard this in so many people's favorites, not just Mally's, but like Mally is my influencer now. I trust her taste so implicitly, it's like ridiculous. Every time I've seen this cover, I just assumed it was nonfiction. I don't know what it is about it, but it screams nonfiction. But it actually sounds so good. Deep underground, 39 women live imprisoned in a cage. Watched over by guards, the women have no memory of how they got there, no no notion of time and only a vague recollection of their lives before. As the burn of electric light merges day into night and numberless years pass, a young girl, the 40th prisoner, sits alone and outcast in the corner. And I don't think she has any memory of the outside. I think she was like born in this place, which like, yikes. Soon she will show herself to be the key to the others' escape and survival in the strange world that awaits them above ground. And what did Mally say about this? She said something about the loneliness and the desperation in this is like, and those are some buzzwords for me, I must say. She also said, not to spoil her video, I will link it down below so you can watch the whole thing, but she says don't go into this expecting to like find out why they're down there or like how. It's really just about life and experiencing life through this girl and all the girls, and it's not about like why it happened. So I'm gonna keep that in mind. Okay, I have 3 books that I have heard of before, but like I impulsively decided to get them today. Right when I walked in, I saw Orbital, which I've heard everyone talking about because it won the Booker Prize, which immediately makes me scared to read it. But then I saw how little it was and how cute it was, and oh my god, how pretty it was. Now I will be, because I'm not too familiar with any of the rest of these books, I probably will be reading a little bit verbatim. I'll try to make it as interesting as possible, but you can also skip this if you don't want to hear me just speaking. This book definitely snapshots one day in the lives of 6 women and men traveling through space. Selected for one of the last space station missions of its kind before the program is dismantled, these astronauts and cosmonauts, what the hell is a cosmonaut? From America, Russia, Italy, Britain, and Japan, have left their lives behind to travel at a speed of over 17,000 miles an hour as the Earth reels below. Profound and contemplative, Orbital is a moving elegy to our environment and planet. That really gave us nothing. I'm guessing because this won the Booker Prize that it's very literary, which has me very excited. Whenever there's like literary sci-fi, literary horror, literary mystery, I'm like, yes. Which sounds very pretentious and I'm so sorry. But like the writing overall will get me to read anything. If it's beautiful, if it makes me emotional, just based on the writing, like that is such a skill and a craft and I could never. Let's read the first sentence just for fuck's sake. Rotating about the Earth in their spacecraft, they are so together and so alone that even their thoughts, their internal mythologies, at times convene. Ooh, I'm ready to be in every single one of these person's business, and that for that reason I cannot wait. Like the drama, I like to pee in people's minds. I just said pee in people's minds. Okay, I need to shut up. Next up, I've obviously heard of The Ring. I think I watched it when I was 11 at like a kid's slumber party lock-in with no parental supervision, and I was scarred a little bit, but I also felt so cool because I was like with a bunch of high schoolers that I felt like, oh my gosh, they're trusting me to not be a scaredy cat. And so I sat there just completely just like, don't scream, don't scream, don't scream, don't scream. But honestly, I love The Ring because it gave me so much inspiration to scare my brother. My brother is a scaredy cat, okay? Story time, skip ahead if you don't care. My brother and I lived with our grandparents for like 11 years, and they were kind of hoarders. They would just like get random shit and just bring it in the house that they saw on the side of the road. And so we had all these fucking TVs in our room, and they were like giant TVs, like really old school, that would probably be like expensive now because they're so retro, but like they were trash back then. And my brother and I would sometimes turn them on and pretend we were watching TV, but it was just like shh. It was like this. And so after we saw that movie, and after I kind of stopped being scared, my brother continued to be scared, and I've always had like long black hair, and he would go in the shower and I would like go like this, put the TV on, and I'd just sit in his room on a chair and wait for him to come out of the shower. I swear, I think I did this 4 times to him, and he screamed so loud every single time. It just, thank you to The Ring for that inspiration. And yes, I deserve an Oscar for that. Anyway, I had no idea it was based on a book. I was actually looking in this section from this author for this book. I put it on my Instagram because I knew I wanted to buy it. It was almost an impulse decision last time I went to Barnes & Noble, but I didn't pick it up, and I so wish I did because they were out of it today. Anyway, a mysterious videotape warns that the viewer will die in 1 week unless a certain unspecified act is performed. Exactly 1 week after watching the tape, 4 teenagers die, one after the other, of heart failure. Asakawa, a hardworking journalist, is intrigued by his niece's inexplicable death. His investigation leads him from a metropolitan Tokyo teeming with modern society's fears to rural Japan. Sorry, my voice is getting tired. I'm not crying, I promise. A mountain resort, a volcanic island, and a countryside clinic haunted by the past. Now, hold on a minute. This does not sound like Rachel. Is that her name? How do I remember that? I watched this when I was 11. So interesting. This is going to be a little different than the movie. Okay. I have to say, the thing that really made me pick this up is just that it looks like a videotape. This is so fucking cool. And it will be a book that that I think, I don't know if I have room to display a book like face out, but this would be one that I would do that for. And then lastly, of books that I do know that I impulsively picked up was Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I think the only V.E. Schwab that I've read is this one, Addie LaRue, and I think I give it 3.5, but I'd be interested to see like a series through this author's eyes. Victor and Eli started out as college roommates, brilliant, arrogant, lonely boys who recognize the same sharpness and ambition in each other. Okay, wait, I'm hooked already. Why is there something about like teenagers thinking that they're so smart, but like having friends that also think they will rule the world? I don't know, that itches something in me. In their senior year, a shared research interest in adrenaline, near-death experiences, and seemingly supernatural events reveals an intriguing possibility that under the right conditions, someone could develop extraordinary abilities. But when their thesis moves from the academic to the experimental, things go horribly wrong. Okay. And then finally, I got 3 that I've never seen before. I saw the cover and I said, gimme, gimme, gimme. First up, I got a graphic novel, a non-fiction graphic novel by the author of this. I had the collected edition, but then I think when I dropped out of college, I left it there in my apartment and I gave it to my roommate, and like I'm kind of butthurt about that. I need to like re-get that. And so I went to that section to pick it up again, but then I saw this. Like, come on. You would pick this up too. On September 16th, 2022 in Iran, oh, we got 2 Iran books. Mahsa Amini died after being beaten by the morality police for not wearing her veil in accordance with Iranian law. Her killing prompted a wave of protests all across the country and grew into a women's movement without precedent. Marjane Satrapi, the author, gathered together 3 specialists, political scientist Farid Vahid, acclaimed journalist Jean-Pierre Perrin, and historian Abbas Milani, together with 16 of the most brilliant comic artists to tell the story of these events and their significance for Iran and for all of us. So it's gonna be fucking intense, just like this one was, even though like you look at it and you think it's like a cute kid's graphic novel, but like real shit is being talked about in these books. And then I flip through it and it's gorgeous, it's informative, it's gonna be very, very interesting, and it's gonna teach me some things, and I think it's gonna really like pack a punch for sure. But also look at this. This cover though, like come on. Next up we have Scrap, and I will tell you I have literally no idea what this is about, and some of you are judging me for that, but we're gonna find out together right now. I did see that it says it's blackly humorous and enjoyably twisted by Paula Hawkins. Blurred by Paula Hawkins. Interesting. Okay, so the word's true crime, but it's not true crime. I'm not interested in true crime, but this is a character who is obsessed with true crime. Okay, I can deal with that. A true crime obsessed young artist is drawn into the lives of a deliriously wealthy family in this fantastically entertaining thriller. Recently dumped and stuck with a mortgage, artist Esther Ray wants to burn down the world. Oh, but instead she reluctantly accepts a scrapbooking job. Whoa, okay. That sounds so good. How is that a job? I want that to be my job. From the deliriously wealthy Naomi Duncan. The scrapbooks, a secret birthday gift for Naomi's husband Bryce, trace the Duncans' 25-year marriage. The condition, Esther must include every piece of paper she's been sent, must sign an NDA, and must only contact Naomi using the burner phone provided. What the fuck? Otherwise she'll spoil the surprise. Okay. As Esther binges true crime I'm losing my ability to speak, guys. I'm sorry. As Esther binges true crime podcasts. My dyslexia just could not handle that one. Also, I really hope we don't like have to hear the podcasts. I don't know. I don't like podcasts in books. I just don't know what it is. And works through the nearly 200 boxes of Duncan detritus. She finds herself infatuated with the Gilded family until mid-project Naomi dies suspiciously. When Esther becomes convinced that the husband killed her, she uses the scrapbook's trove of information to insert herself into the Duncans' lives to prove it. But the more Esther investigates, the further she is dragged back to the scorched earth of her own past in the art world. Oh, so we get some personal intrigue. Okay. It's got pitch black humor and conspiratorial unease. Razor sharp examination of wealth and power, art and truth, and the line between justice and revenge, and who gets to cross it. Sounds thrilling. And then lastly, we have The Girl Before Her, and I just thought this was so gorgeous. It's like a quilt. The art in here is like embroidery. It's just so beautiful. I keep like shoving it closer to you. I think you can see it. This is by Liane Papin, but it's translated by Adriana Hunter and Lee Landil. I see a quote back here that says, "A fable, a dream, a nightmare." French-Vietnamese writer Liane Papin. This is the stunning English language debut, The Girl Before Her. It offers a window onto the existential anguish of displacement as experienced by a child on the cusp of becoming a woman. Uprooted without explanation from the sunshine and chaos of Hanul, I don't know how to say that, I'm sorry. At the age of 10, the narrator finds herself adrift in the unfamiliar gray world of France and grappling with a deep sense of uncertainty about who she is and where she belongs. You know, I love those kinds of stories. She stops talking, then eating, and almost dies. Oh my god. Part meditation, part family history, part message in a bottle to her younger selves. Papin, I'm sorry, I can't not say it with a French accent now. Papin's lyrical work of autofiction explores what it takes to embrace one's multiracial, transnational self by making peace with the generations of women who's become before. Oh my god. And I feel like because I just finished Woman Eating, I didn't tell you this, but I finished the audiobook of that the other day, and I feel like there's a lot of that in that book, so I'm like, I might have to get to this quickly. Let's read the first sentence. How pretty. Now there are chapters with names and it's kind of giving short story. I don't know. First sentence. In Vietnam, there are places where people bury their loved ones for a period of 3 years in caskets appropriate to their size. I have to keep reading, I'm sorry. Then once that period has elapsed and the flesh has dissipated, whatever is left is transferred to a smaller box. Cemeteries are thus made up of small boxes of bones. How interesting, because they talked about that in this book. Okay. I just love when I see connections, even at the smallest amount. All right, that was my haul. I feel like I've been talking for a long time, so we need to shut up, but I need to update you on the favorites. So let me move directions so I can make this visually interesting. Hi, welcome to my kitchen, where literally nothing happens except I open takeout boxes. Anyway, I'm halfway through the favorites now. I've lowered my expectations a little bit. It's still very high drama. It's almost stressful, which is kind of grating on me a little bit. It's exhausting me a little bit. And obviously I knew that we were coming from a narration that was in the present time looking back, but I really wish we could take our time a little bit longer in these teenage years because so much is happening. Changing of like partners in skating, relationships and friendships happening like off page, and it's really irritating me. So like I was really enjoying the documentary parts where everyone was like commenting on the things that were happening, but now the documentary parts are becoming a source of info dumping, and it's really pissing me off because they'll skip 3 years and just summarize it in this documentary where people are like, yeah, they became best friends like throughout those 3 years. We didn't get to see any of that. Are you fucking kidding me? It's also super heavy on the figure skating, or I guess it's technically ice dancing, which is funny because I kept referring to them as dancers. But what's crazy is that we're halfway through and so much has changed. And so I'm like, what is going to happen in the last half of this book? That does keep me intrigued. But I'm not as close to it as I thought I was going to be because these relationships are changing so quickly. There's no reference point. There's no like foundations to any of them, that it feels very surface level, even though they're trying to make it so fucking intense, but it's like, I'm not buying it. And then we're at the point now where dramatic stuff is happening, like it's been happening this entire time, but it almost feels forced. Like some of the decisions that our main character makes or that other people make, or even just reactions that they have, they seem so unwarranted and like it doesn't make logical sense. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves in anything, if it doesn't make sense or if it doesn't feel warranted. I realize, because like, hello, I'm me, that people don't always make logical decisions, they make emotional ones. But if the emotions aren't like backed up in the narration, it just is like so annoying. It's like, okay, why are we not just puppets here? Robots. That's what it's kind of feeling like. So I hope it picks up, not in tone, because like the drama is already high, but I hope it picks up our people and it really like cakes them with some more, emotion? I don't even know what I'm saying right now, but like the character aspect of this writing is really kind of just at this point right now, could make up for it. We'll see. I think I underlined another funny line though. There's one character in the documentary who is the comic relief, and it's kind of getting to the point where it's like, okay, so his entire purpose in this book is just to make us giggle, and like, it's okay. I like giggling, but also it's very clear that's what his purpose is for, and so it is irritating a little bit. The comedic relief character said, I swear Heath Roca was the most dramatic straight boy I ever met. I giggled out loud because of his actions and like his reactions to things. Yeah, he is very dramatic, and I'm very curious what his character, like how people are going to respond to it. I definitely want to watch some reviews of this when it comes out, because we have Katarina and Heath, as I've said, and Heath is like the childhood friend to lovers, and I feel like a lot of his behavior and his actions are like things that are red flags that you would see on a TikTok. So I'm very curious how people are going to respond to his character. I'm kind of like in the middle because like they're teenagers and he's a very intense kind of person, but also he is kind of irritating in some of his like expectations. I don't know, but then I understand his point of view, because when you love someone so much and they just don't love you the same, that is fucking crushing. But now they're adults and they're acting like, okay. Now it's 10:30. I've spent an hour talking to you. I need to shut up.
is shining its light on you again. Down low, tell me everything. Highs, lows, and in betweens. You're in slow motion like a movie scene. So beautiful, and I know everything is right where it should be. We're in the kitchen eating ramen. We got a candle at the table set for two. I love our little apartment, 'cause it's making me feel.
Alright guys, I finished the favorites. First of all, this is categorized as romance. I really disagree. It should be drama, and I think drama should be a genre. Ooh, that sounded good. First of all, I'd be its #1 fan, but I think it should be a legitimate genre because there is like a science to a good drama, and this did have the drama. It promised and it delivered. It was just a little too stressful for me. One thing I will say is I'm glad that I read this just because there's no way they're not making this into like a limited series. It's gonna be like by the same people that did Daisy Jones and the Six. It would be perfect. And honestly, I think it might be an even better show or movie than it would be book because so much of it is visual, but also you can actually see a little bit more of the chemistry, obviously between these two toxic bitches, but also like the friendships and the coach and the trainee relationships. I feel like the tension and the chemistry was only just a little bit hinted at. It could really go deep if we had a visual, atmospheric version of it. So I'm crossing my fingers. Like I would give a kidney if this doesn't end up on the screen at some point. Ooh, I just got an ache in my body. My kidney's already pissed at me. I will say, as much as I love the high drama because I am a nosy bitch, this was very repetitive. It was like the same cycle that was repeated 3 or 4 times. And then there was like a weird thriller aspect to the end. I don't know. I'm feeling like a 3.5 because I was very entertained, but like I don't think it was as strong as it could have been. Like all the meat was there, but there was not enough flavor. Or maybe all the flavor was there, but there wasn't enough meat. There just wasn't 2 of those things together. I feel like I've been so picky this year with my books. Like all of my books have gotten a 3 or 3.5 with like 1 exception. And a 5-star reread. That doesn't even count. So I hope I'm not like coming across as a picky bitch, but also I am a picky bitch. This did really put me into like a Olympic sports romance or like a dark mafia romance and wanting like a sports mafia romance. Is there one of those? Please let me know because like, oh, that'd be good. And of course there was like an entire vampire routine that they did with like a fake choker and blood, and they danced to like a Dracula song, and I did my nails all Dracula-like. It's just all coming together. 2025, at least the first month, vampire January, yes. So yeah, I'm glad I read this. It's probably gonna be a 3.5. Exhausting, but also thrilling. And honestly, what more could I want? Actually, I could want a little bit more. I just wish there was a little bit more, just a little bit more. I guess that's all I can say. Like this is supposed to be the most angsty shit, and it was, but it also, like there was no backup for the angst. It was just happening. Okay, I'm gonna shut up about it. I had fun. Let me know what you think of this when you read it. All right, y'all, I think we're gonna have to wrap it up because it's almost dinner time. Weekend is coming to a close, and I was honestly kind of disappointed that I only got to 2 books, but I think that's so dumb of me. And so now I'm like, oh yeah, I read 2 books. That's great. I do like that I got over that during the midst of this video, and also every single time I film a video, it's so funny. I'm keeping a reading journal this year, but instead of like journaling for each of the books I read, I journal for each of the videos, and I've like done a really good job keeping at it. And literally in every single one so far, I started off really excited, and then in the middle, the update is, oh, I think this video sucks. I think I'm gonna like 86 it. And then by the end, which I'm about to log in right now, is like, oh, I'm so glad I did this. So it's nice learning how fucking predictable I am because I know I'm gonna get over any shit that I'm feeling in the middle. Anyway, thanks for watching while I did my weekend shit. I'm so glad I got some new books. I can't wait to squeeze them on the shelves. Let me know if you've read these books and what you thought about them, and obviously if you've read any of, oh, my boob. If you've read any of the books that I hauled, I'm gonna edit this and then we'll start a new vlog. Let's go. I'll see you later. Goodbye.